Tip number 2, validate yourself. Now, in a minute, what I'm going to do is show you a very successful cold email I sent where I was able to immediately get a meeting booked with the CEO of a very successful company with no follow-ups, and the email almost completely sold the meeting. So validating yourself is incredibly important, especially today. If you've ever read the Business to Business Copywriting Handbook, it's available for free from Bob Bly. One of the things he stresses is the importance today of building credibility very, very early, because we're bombarded with messages far more than we used to be in the past. So establishing credibility initially is going to help you separate yourself from all the spam that's out there and show that you're somebody worth listening to. So if we look at the Harvard Business Review, what specifically are we talking about? Well, we have to answer the question, why are you credible and why are you trustable? And hopefully there's something unique about you that puts you in a unique position to provide value to that person based on your experience, your credentials, some sort of social proof or recognition, something like that. So the easiest way to do this, but it's also more labor intensive, is if you have a mutual connection, you can say something like, hey, I know you worked with Bill, he suggested I reach out to you. Okay, great way to actually get a response. Somebody's probably guaranteed to respond to you if you can work through a mutual connection like that. Another thing is to stress something that you have in common. So for example, if you're a consultant in this space and that person is also a consultant in this space, maybe you both work in the same volunteer organization, something like that. The other thing you can do is just leverage your own status. So your status being that you're a doctor, that you're licensed, that you published a book, that you run a podcast. If you have nothing, you can create one of these, right? You could publish a book that's 40,000 words. You could set up a podcast. Lots of people do this. It creates the aura of status, even if it's not something that took you 5 years to get a PhD in, something like that. So let's move on. This is a cold email I sent out, and here's how I did it. I purchased a list of about 7,000 contacts that I imported into Lemlist. I sent this email out. Now, just to be transparent, a lot of people responded and they said, unsubscribe, not interested. So if I ever sent this out again, I'd probably make a few changes. I'd make unsubscribe much more obvious, because I don't want people feeling like I'm tricking them into receiving emails. And if they want to click on unsubscribe, it should be just a giant button, because I don't want to talk to them. They don't want to talk to me. It's mutually beneficial to make unsubscribe incredibly easy when you're sending automated emails. But in this case, I sent it out, and this company that had, I think, $30 million in venture capital, very successful startup. The CEO wrote me back immediately based on one email, and CC'd a whole bunch of his team, and basically just said, I want a meeting. I want a meeting right away. So then I had a meeting out of that. So what I had here, subject line was ideas and feedback for, and then this is just populated with the company name. So earlier I was showing how the subject line was first name. Here it's a company name. I'm interested to hear what you have to say, admin, and this person will set up a meeting between you and people copied here and me. Thanks. Okay, so he's very interested. So what I said was hi, and I had his first name. I'm reaching out because I thought you might want some free advice on generating demo requests, free trials, and paying customers. So I'm saying that I'm providing free value on doing these critical things, which is what a lot of SaaS companies want, right? They want more demo requests, they want free trials and paying customers. So it's less about what I do and more about what you want. But the main takeaway from this is not that. It's more my credibility. I'm a SaaS marketer with 10 years experience, ranging from a Google-backed startup to the Fortune 100. Are there any marketing challenges you'd like to get advice on? So I'm stressing, I worked in the Fortune 100. I work for a Google-backed startup. I have 10 years experience. I am an expert. So I'm hitting credibility in multiple different ways in just a 2-sentence email or 2-line email. Also, MBA from Kellogg. Okay, another source of credibility. I have my LinkedIn you can check out if you want to validate any of this. I have that I'm an expert in your industry, and then that I also published a book. So I mean, I kind of went overboard here, right? I got the school brand name, I got the book, I got the expertise, I got the experience, I got some brand names I'm pulling up here like Google and, well, I guess Fortune 100 is kind of a brand name too. So, I mean, you don't need to do that much, but you can see how by giving myself credibility, somebody's not just going to write this off as I'm just a generic salesperson or business development person that's trying to bombard the market. Now, if you are like a junior level BDR, SDR, AE that's doing this kind of thing, you can build credibility because you have narrow industry expertise. You have value that you can provide to them. Hey, I've worked with 5 other manufacturing companies to help them shave 10% off their cost of goods sold. I can help you too, right? So just because you haven't published a book, maybe you don't want to, or just because you haven't gone to a fancy school because it's too expensive, there are other ways, other more valuable ways, in fact, to show that you have validity, to establish credibility up front. And I think this is a perfect example of where the cold email itself, done in a scalable, automated way, can get you meetings with high value prospects. Okay, it's not always true that you need to send 100 follow-ups, and it's not always true that you need a high degree of personalization. There's ways to do a little bit as long as you establish enough credibility to have people actually listen to what you have to say.